Previously on Dungeon Call.
The last second in your 20 is missing.
What we've seen is what will come to pass unless we do something about it. This is a liminal event, which means I and the people that are involved have the opportunity to change it.
You have a medicinal medallion that has taken 1 year for the priests here to construct.
A man named Babard built Babbage Hall through the Iron Mountains that led almost directly to Tyr.
It's a compass, held by the right person, will take you directly to the hall.
The compass has finally reached its endpoint. Babbage Hall, the legendary passage from the Gods' Wars, it's just through that waterfall. Welcome to Dungeon Call, above board's foray into the world of Lear and the universe of Dungeons and Dragons. Today we're going to start Chapter 3 of our adventure, and let me introduce to you the players, shall we? We have Alexa Cappiello.
What's up?
Shea Parker.
Hello.
Brian Spillane.
Hello.
Jason Charles Miller, our special guest.
Hey.
And on the other side, we have Leif Gantvoort.
I'm Dan Billet. No, wait, hold on.
Dan Billet, the other Leif Gantvoort.
I'm the other Leif Gantvoort.
And of course, our special guest star, Becca Scott.
I'm Travis Oates.
Excellent. Man, I wish I looked like Becca Scott. Today we are starting another chapter. We're picking it up right where we left off, outside of what might be the Hall of Babbage. We're not sure. And as we start every chapter, we're going to start with a little story that may or may not pertain to what we are doing in today's adventure. Today's story is the Siege of Jurah. The moment of time that marks the end of the old reckoning and the beginning of the new is the spark that set off the Gods' War. That spark was the Siege of Jurah. As many conflicts do, this one started out as a betrayal of the heart, an act of anger and jealousy on the part of a scorned goddess. Jor and Velina had been married for nearly 3 centuries. It started out as a romance to be envied, the subject of many a poem and ballad dedicated to the art of devotion. But, as is the way of the gods, nothing lasts forever, and even the fierce love of these two noble and powerful beings became strained and wrote over time. Passion became comfort, and comfort became apathy. So it was that Jor's eye fell upon the mortal woman, Eelynn. She was a beautiful young girl, full of innocence and an eagerness to experience the world. Posing as an architect and traveler, Jor introduced himself, and the two fell tragically in love. It was not long before Velina discovered Jor's tryst, and she became enraged in a way she has never experienced before or since. Malak, the god of discord, saw this splinter of fury that had pierced its way into Valina's heart, and he saw opportunity. He convinced Valina to strike at everything that Jor loved, to shatter Jor completely, humiliate him in the way he had humiliated. Malak gave her a white rose, the thorns of which were infused with a deadly poison so potent that not even the blind archer himself could bring someone back after it did its deed. Valina, posing as Kylana's architect, gifted her the rose. Kylana was overjoyed and pressed the flower to her breast like a cherished treasure. A single thorn pierced her skin, and she died, looking into the face of her beloved, never understanding why he would end her so. To this day, people give a lover a white rose to represent the death of a relationship. When Jor found Kylana's dead body, he fell into despair. It was this moment that the combined armies of Malak and Valina, 500,000 strong, marched their way through the Iron Pass and began the longest siege of any city in history. For 6 years, 100,000 Jorians held off countless waves of attackers. The entire world fell into war. 9 gods, including Valina's father Morghan, the god of emotion, and Nigellyn's daughter Arlindis, the goddess of energy, died in this conflict. It reshaped everything, even splitting a continent in two toward the end of the war. Over 30 million people died. But the city of Jura never fell. No conquering army ever marched through its gates. Although there are many theories and legends, no one knows for certain how the city was able to survive for 6 long years. It is one of the great, enduring mysteries of the age of conflict. And so, we stand outside of one of the possible solutions to how the city was able to survive for 6 years, the Hall of Babbage. Of the 6 waterfalls that are in front of you, the device that you have, the compass, is pointing at the second waterfall from the left.
This device seems to be pointing to that one, that waterfall.
The second one from the left?
Yes. So, shall we try it?
Now, this is a substantial waterfall, and unlike video games and stuff where you just walk into a waterfall, oh, it's no big deal, you just walk into a waterfall and see what's behind it. I mean, we're talking tons of water coming down off that waterfall, so it's not a minor thing to try just walk into a massive waterfall.
And it's like a cliff facade that is falling off of.
Yeah.
Is it stone? Do we see trees? Like what?
Yes, so you are basically at the edge of a forest where the forest has become mountain. And the Iron Mountains are one of the largest, if not the largest, mountain range, certainly on Jura. It's a completely imposing, jagged series of cliffs and mountains, almost entirely impassable except through the Iron Pass. And on these cliff sides, in this particular area, there are 6 different waterfalls.
Might I send Zin in there to see if there's a door?
That's an excellent idea, as she will not be pummeled and...
Correct.
I will speak for both my chosen sister Eelynn and I, as I say, that's a lot of water.
Yes, it is. But luckily, Zin here will not be affected.
Also, maybe look for a path for the rest of us.
Yeah, be clear, Zin doesn't always seem to understand.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You are often confused as to our overall goals.
Well, that's not true. I just have goals of my own.
Fair enough.
And I should mention, as Becca pointed out, we are missing someone today. She has gotten a part in a major motion picture, and she is off filming it, which is awesome. Little applause.
Yay, Ashleigh!
Ashleigh.
I don't want to tip the scale, but it's called The Adventures of
No.
Eelynn.
We're not allowed to say what it's called.
I was making a joke.
Yes, I know you were.
But your character and your life
Yeah.
are not always that different.
Exactly.
So
Wait, is the project called Dungeon Call?
No, I wish. The way that I handle missing people, unless they're going to be gone for a very extended period of time, is usually her character, Eelynn, will be here. It's just every creature that tries to attack her misses. Every time she tries to attack a creature, she misses, and she's fairly quiet and defers to her sister in all conversational moments. So that's how that's going to run for this chapter. So yes, so what would you like to have Zin do?
Zin goes right up to Tyll one more time and goes, wish me luck.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, wish her luck.
And
Go
then,
team.
and then she looks over at Nyx one more time, like, I'm going to do right by you. And Nyx goes, go, go, go. And she walks up to Zin walks up to the waterfall and gingerly puts her hand through first, finds that she can go through. And she goes,
Conceptually.
yes, inception. And so she then looks back one last time and then walks through the waterfall.
Now, the problem that you discover very quickly as she pops back out is that you have to see Zin to be able to have. Zin cannot exist outside of your vision. So the moment that she enters into the water, she basically ceases to exist.
Is there
So-
a pool in front of the waterfall? And is she able to
Yes.
just walk on water?
Well, no, she can't walk on water. Her perception of the world is still the same way that Nyx's perception of the world is. So Zin doesn't have superpowers, can't move through walls, can't walk on water. She still has to, because in her mind, she still has to deal with the physics that Nyx deals with. But she can't be harmed. She can move through things. For example, if there were...
Slip through grates and bars with ease.
Yes,
So,
yes. There's some of that kind of stuff she could wiggle through in ways that the real Nyx couldn't. But yeah, the one thing she can't do is go through a solid object or at least an opaque surface and allow you to still have her exist.
So I have a couple more questions about like the nature of what it is that we're looking at.
Sure.
So we have the face of the mountain that reaches down to the ground. Like, is there foliage there, or can we go to the side of the waterfall where it connects with the ground?
You could definitely go to the side of the waterfall for sure.
Okay, and we can get like a decent look behind the water, or
Yeah, but I mean, most waterfalls don't, again, have like a little edge where the water itself is off from the cliff face. I mean, waterfalls that have a large amount of water coming through them.
we are talking about a space that potentially has a cavern behind it or some sort of opening.
Maybe.
You are assuming that
hopes.
from the fact that the compass is pointing you toward that area.
I could transform myself into a bear and muscle my way up there and see if it's there.
Can you do a fish yet?
I cannot do a fish yet. I could do a squirrel or a snake.
Oh, I noticed.
A snake
water
that swims?
snake?
A constrictor snake. Not sure, but I feel like the bear is the best chance here.
That's a great option at this point. Why not try it?
Want to give it a try?
Yes.
Is this Niagara-esque in its size, or it's smaller than that?
Well, it's not Niagara.
Okay, right.
Certainly.
a barrel. Just
But it's, yeah.
Because we've got a barrel on the card. Yeah.
No, and it's not a super high one either, but it's substantial. All right, so you change into a bear. Are you going to go from the side, or are you going to wade in?
I'm going to use my bear instinct to see what a bear might do.
Your bear instincts are like, don't go into a water. That could really hurt.
I guess from the side, I suppose.
Sure. So make a strength check, but I'm going to give it to you as an advantage because you have 4 legs to brace yourself.
All right. Excellent. Oh, well, one was a natural 20.
Well, that's a wonderful time to roll.
We're going to find out.
So you enter into the water, tremendous amount of pressure. It feels like someone has dumped, tons of water down upon you, and you're immediately almost splayed out to the ground from the pressure. But with your tremendous bear strength and your 4 legs to brace yourself, you make your way into the waterfall. But you do not see any opening there, and you use your bare body to kind of push along the wall the entire time. I don't think you quite have the stability to be able to lift up and check with bare paws, but moving along the whole thing and eyeballing it the best you can, you don't see any opening, or there's certainly not a wide cavernous space behind the waterfall from your vantage.
Can I yell? I can yell down. I see no door. I see no cavernous space.
So you hear, well, everybody make a perception check, because most likely you're going to hear a lot of waterfall, and you're going to hear...
Yeah.
Oof. 20, dirty 20.
Oh, dirty 20? Well, he hears you say that.
All right.
14.
He sees no cavernous space.
If I'd only had 175 more gold pieces, I could have potentially detected magic. Teal,
Yes.
can you do things to detect some magical concealment?
Could you go into the future in a time when you have learned how to detect magical concealment, then come back and do it for us now?
Here's the thing. In the future, I can. But now I can't go into the future to do that. So later, yes. Now, no.
But if all times exist in once...
Right, why do you even believe in terms like now and later?
Yeah. Oh, no, let's talk about this. And then I sit you down for 20 minutes while maybe a different magic user in our party can cast detect magic. Yeah.
So you do not have detect magic?
I don't have detect magic.
But someone else does.
I've only got what's on my 3 coins, and we'll make new coins someday after a lot more games of cups.
That's the biggest downside of your character class, is how expensive it is to make those new coins.
I could run a ritual and detect magic. If we have the time, I suppose I could do that.
We have nothing but time in this water.
I also have detect magic, but I can't do it as a bear. So
well, you haven't chosen. Did you
no,
choose?
I did. I chose Thunderwave.
You chose Thunderwave. Mm-hmm. All right. So you have, as an animist, you have 1 spell, at least at this level. You have 1 spell that you can cast while in animal form, and you've chosen Thunderwave. All right. So, are you still in the waterfall? Or have you decided
as of now, yes.
All right. So you are getting the cleanest a bear has ever been. Is what a lot of pressure. Power wash.
I need to be within 30 feet of what I'm checking for magic.
Sure.
And we're checking the wall behind the waterfall.
I can perhaps. I could I want to flip a coin to see if I'll be able to cast Ray of Frost to freeze the waterfall to get you access.
Let's go with that.
Is that helpful?
Well, you can try it.
All right.
That's my favorite GM expression.
If I'm just feeling the weather, do I feel like there's going to be a battle before we have a long rest?
You're not sure.
Huh.
Do you have detect battle?
Do you all think there's going to be a battle before a long rest? Because I can ensure that it's Ray of Frost so I don't accidentally cast a firebolt.
I'm just going to say, the guy who told us how to get here said no one's ever come back. So maybe there's going to be a battle sometime soon.
I will say this. you're talking about a cantrip, correct?
Yeah, I can cast it again.
Yes.
Oh, it's so nice to not be in combat and trying to cast spells. Okay, let me just flip some coins.
Can we think about this for a second?
I am not a thinker.
I mean,
Firebolt at the waterfall.
I mean, should we let the bear come out of the water first before we freeze it?
Don't worry, I cast Firebolt.
What could possibly go wrong?
So she casts Firebolt, and all of a sudden, you're like, did somebody upstream urinate into the river? Because it's very warm all of a sudden. But I guess you think nothing of it.
what's that?
I guess you think nothing of it. You just have some warm water kind of trickle down on you.
Let's see, I cast it at a 15, and it does 2 damage to the waterfall.
All right, so make a dexterity check.
Oh, no.
15?
I know.
Oh, boy. 9.
So you cast your Ray of Frost, and you freeze.
It was Firebolt.
Oh, it was Firebolt.
Yeah, you know,
so
coins.
again, I already told you. So it's a nice warm bit of water that comes down.
I
Would you like to
give
try
you
it again?
a little hot springs action.
Would you like to try it again?
Hold on. Sorry, you said think, and then it took me a minute to process. Should I try this again?
Let's think about what it would do if ice happened, and let's just brainstorm for a second.
Hey,
Fine, but that's part of experimentation.
Get out of the water!
I
Can he hear with the giant
I
waterfall
so
going
wanted
on?
to hit you with a foot with a solid chunk of ice right on your forehead. Okay. You have a lot of the party members trying to kill you.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you get out of the way?
Yes, I jump out of the way.
I flip my coin again, and with the 19, that will be Ray of Frost. And it's a 24 to hit the waterfall.
Well, it's not hard to hit the waterfall. You've heard the broadside of a barn analogy. This is the medieval equivalent. So,
perfect.
Although they had barns.
Yeah, they didn't have barns in medieval times.
I've frozen this waterfall.
You nail that waterfall like no one has ever hit a waterfall with a Ray of Frost. However,
ta-da! Diony the Magnificent. You may pay me 5 pence if you enjoy.
it's a very small section of the waterfall that turns to ice, which then flows down where, if a bear had been sitting there, could have knocked him right on the noggin. But it doesn't because the bear got out of the way. However, you do see a big chunk of ice floating down the river right by. So if you want some cold drinks later, grab that sucker.
Yeah.
why not?
I take off my dagger and chop off a piece.
Sure, you got a big chunk of ice now.
This is very cold. Laric, would you hold that for me?
No.
I reach into his pouch and just drop it in.
Sure, that'll come up later.
That scroll you were saving.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well.
Wisdom 0. I don't know if you saw that number. Yeah.
Yeah, make a. Did you make a sleight of hand? See if you
Is that
notice.
opposed to my perception, or is it passive?
That's a 7.
That's a 7. Yeah, it does. It is your passive, which is higher than a 7.
It's a 15. Yeah.
So you do see that she slipped some ice into your pocket. I don't know if you want to do anything about it.
It's okay. I don't mind being a little wet.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'd like to look around and see if there are any large branches that we can, stop the waterfall with,
Gosh,
at least temporarily.
wouldn't it be nice to just be able to detect magic with a
I was
ritual
gonna say.
and see what happens then?
It took 10 minutes to cast the ritual.
I
We've all been doing stuff in the
It's
meantime.
still going on.
So while he is casting the ritual, you are searching around the waterfall for some kind of branches. Make a nature check.
Oh, boy.
Why don't you make a nature check as well?
Yes, why doesn't the druid make the nature check here? Okay, 10.
I should say survival. Sorry,
Oh.
this would be more of a survival check.
12.
So 12 on survival.
23.
23. You very gently tell her that sticks and branches are not going to stop a waterfall. No matter how many sticks and branches you have, unless you're a beaver, which is not one of the things you can turn into, that the flow of the waterfall would be too much to try and use. Even logs would, without Without a massive engineering project, blocking a waterfall of this magnitude would be pretty much impossible.
Can I ask a question? The compass is, thank you. It's pointing directly at the waterfall, not like to the side
Or down.
or down or up.
So you traverse and triangulate the area in such a way that it is unquestionable that the needle is pointing at that waterfall.
Oh, it's just pointing directly there, as far as I can tell.
What if it's down?
Down.
Does anybody swim?
Bear friend.
Bears can swim.
How long can you hold your breath?
Let me Google it.
So what are the rules of holding your breath?
Holding your breath would be 1 minute plus your constitution modifier for every plus. So as a bear, I have a constitution of 16, which gives me +3, so I can hold my breath for 4 minutes.
So that's a pretty lengthy amount of time.
Yeah.
Would you like to dive in and see what you could find?
Why not?
In you go. You don't really have any bear goggles on you, do you?
No bear goggles, unfortunately. I feel like their eyesight might be better than ours.
So roll perception at a disadvantage.
Okay.
If only you had the bare necessities. Oh, sorry, guys. It's been hanging there for ages. It's been hanging there for ages. Somebody had to say.
Yes, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, I only got an 11 at disadvantage.
So an 11 at least gives you an idea of approximately what's down there. There's a lot of churn is the biggest difficulty. So you're able to tool around the bottom and get a pretty good idea of the lay of the land at the bottom. And you do not find any obvious entrance or cave or hole.
I'm exhausted. I'm gonna take a nap for this ritual to finally come to fruition.
What was that glitching thing you did on that person? Could you do it on this waterfall?
I read every single one of those thoughts.
It's not technically a person. It's a series of moving
So it's
particles. So I
only
don't think
on
it's really
people?
only people, monsters, things like that. And it's about attacks. It is an interesting idea. I would have to study that for a while. I don't currently know how to cast it on flows of water.
So his spell is finished before his explanation. You can't do
You're
it.
welcome.
You cast the spell. You cast Detect Magic. You are within 30 feet of the compass. Is magical. Not strongly magical, but faintly magical.
I sense that.
Cool, thank
No
you.
surprise there. No surprise that it is magical. Just a little reality check on the compass.
There is a glow coming from behind the waterfall. So there is some source of magic.
Do I know what type, what school of magic?
Yes, both of the, and again, you don't really know schools of magic on Lear, but you can tell that the magic is of the god of Babbage, as is the compass of the god of magic, of Babbage.
Idea. What if we just throw everything we've got at that rock?
Through the water.
Just like cast a bunch of spells at it.
We're not going to
cast
throw chance. That's one thing we're not going to throw.
For sure. That is for sure. I assure you.
Yeah, no, I meant the spell-wise or ranged attack-wise, not your glass
So you want
mouse
to break
ring.
through the rock that's magically enhanced.
That's right.
I wonder, does anybody speak Babbage's language, which is called Babbagean? No, it's not called that at all.
Don't be such a little
sorry,
bitch.
no. But it is sounds
rating just went
bitchin'. Sorry, what is
Babitchy.
Babitchy?
No, I'm kidding. So the followers of Babbage fall under the ideology of night, which means that they speak Jakan.
Jakan.
I do speak Japan.
But they also speak a secret language, which is Lear's equivalent of thieves' cant.
Right.
Ooh, oh, say a word in that. Like open.
Does anybody know?
I speak both, right?
I don't believe you speak the thieves' cant. Only followers of Babbage speak that specific language.
Fair.
And we have
And
none
is
of
there
those, do we?
anything written on the compass itself?
So let me read this one more time. This aged compass is said to point to the nearest entrance of Babbage Hall. While within the hole, the user may attempt to determine which is the safest route by making a survival check using the compass.
We're not in the hall.
So we're not in the hole, we're outside of the
And you're
hole.
the only one who can use the compass.
But literally, is there any markings on the compass
that you can't read?
Can you open it? There's a little latch right here.
Oh, there's a little latch. No, that's just to hold that in.
Okay, I guess that's.
Just
Yeah,
asking.
there's some other language here that I can't read.
Well, maybe you should try harder to survive while holding it, if you know what I mean.
So is it basically a survival check while I'm holding it to try to?
You could try that.
All right, I try.
Anybody have a help action or like a bless?
Yeah, can we help?
Cheer you on.
Yeah. Well, if it's another language, shouldn't we all look at it to see if it's a language any of us know?
Yeah.
Yes.
We can do both
Everyone
things.
does.
I will say she has a really good point. Go ahead.
20.
Nat 20. Wow.
Natural 20. You survived the heck out of that thing. Boy, you use that compass. You know what? I'm going to give you something because that is a natural 20. You aren't within the hall, so trying to use that compass in such a way. However, I will let you know, you have not seen everything that compass can do. And you should probably examine that compass a little bit closer.
I examined the compass a little bit closer.
And again, with the natural 20, close the compass.
It is closed.
Yeah. Now, take a look at the compass a little closer.
Like
Is there some part of that compass you haven't used yet?
It's like a.
Yes, the sundial.
It's a sundial, yes.
Use the sundial. Is there a time of day that it's activated? Is there any indication of that?
I mean, yeah, it is a sundial. It's not moving or anything like
if I may?
that.
Yes, it flips up.
With a 20 survival, I will
Right
tell you
there.
yes, it
There
can.
we go.
There you go.
So, Nix is better at this than I am.
Yes. When you hold it up, you can see that the sun falls upon it like a regular sundial. And there is a line on the top of the face of the sundial that is faintly glowing. The shadow is currently pointing in a specific place, but of course that is.
When they align, we just have to wait.
I think we do. We have to wait until the exact moment. And perhaps.
Or, having rolled a 20, you can move the compass.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're waiting.
Move the sun!
As much as I would like to watch you guys wait for 4 hours for the sun to reach that moment.
Well, it'd be a good chance to talk. No, sorry.
Hey, I'm the one who rolled the 20 here.
She did roll a 20
job.
survival, so I'm giving her a lot for that 20.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I geniusly move it so that the lines match.
Yes, so once the shadow falls upon that particular line, you hear a rumble of rock and a massive screeching of earth and stone as the entire face of that waterfall moves upward as a massive slab. And the waterfall becomes a waterfall that now comes out about an extra 30 feet and comes down, as that massive slab reveals a entrance.
I knew my fireball would do it.
Well, looks like we go in then.
Maybe we explore that thing a little bit more before we just dismiss it.
Diving in!
I mean, we could
Yes.
sit here and look at it a little more if you'd like.
Let's
Can I roll for performance to see what my dive looks like?
So you don't have to dive. You can if you want to, but you can actually just walk into the place. But if you want to,
without going in the water?
that's right.
That makes sense.
Okay.
But then you won't get the shot of you coming out of the water
Right?
going like this.
We could have seen. We'll never know what that
Your
dive will
character is
reveal.
stunningly beautiful. So if you would like to show off and do a dive, you may. It's just not necessary.
We are going to walk in a
I
cold
say we
cave.
go in while we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this
Let.
may be our death in this cabin. As you've mentioned, no one's come out alive.
No, we're gonna get to where we're going.
So,
we won't die
okay,
here.
I'm just saying this might be the last chance we have for a swimming party. That's a 19.
It's a wonderful
It's a
dive.
23.
All right. So,
Beautiful form.
so Diony, like a gazelle, moves forward with the grace only given to gods and very, very stunningly beautiful women. She leaps out, does a pike, and then a half twist, and then a 3/4 gainer right in. Zero splash. Zero splash. And it looks like one would want a dream of aquatic mermaiditude to look.
Ooh, that's Warwick mermaiditude.
Yeah.
Quite the great
So-
Gainus.
And then you come up and
Zin goes, yay! Beautiful form!
You could do it too, Zin.
I can?
I'll teach you.
all right. Now, as soon as what is Nyx doing right now?
Nyx is trying to get everyone to go in.
So you do notice, Nyx, when you move and it moves off of that number, it starts to close. So you have to adjust and make sure that that shadow continues to be on that line.
Okay.
So it's a rumble, rumble, rumble. You adjust it so it's back on that line, and up it goes.
I might be able to help with that, actually. I cast Mage Hand and just put out a hand to rest it on, to very safely just, if, when you're going through.
Sure. So you place the compass into the mage hand. Mm-hmm. The moment that it touches the mage hand, the line stops glowing.
Oh.
And it starts to close.
No!
You pick it up.
Is your mage hand a follower of Jakar?
No.
Yes.
Not
yes.
a follower of Jakar.
Could you ask it to convert?
To Jakadiism.
All right, everyone else go in and I'll figure out a way in.
I'll take the lead.
All right.
I'm pretty good.
I'll be very middle of the pack.
All right.
Can I fit in as a bear, or do we need to turn back?
Oh,
into
no, you have plenty of room. This thing is massive.
Okay.
I'm concerned, and I want to stay behind to make sure that she
No, I
gets in.
tell you to go. Go.
And we all have torches?
Some of you do.
I'm going to transform into a dire wolf because I'll
Okay.
have better senses in that way.
And we did, by the way, because we did a little research over time, and you can actually turn into a dire wolf instead of a wolf, so we have changed your form from wolf to dire wolf.
Yeah.
So.
But
Okay.
you can't be laughing.
I told you, go
I mean,
in.
of us.
All right, so all of you have made your way in, and I'll deal with that in a second, except for you, Nyx. Even Zin is probably at the, waving at you. Like, come on in.
Come on.
Do you prestidigitate away, by the way, your moisture?
You read my mind. Yeah, I use it like a little blow dryer. all over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
So I do my best to follow the lines as
All right,
good
so
as possible.
make a dexterity check.
20!
Nice. So you walk like that scene in My Fair Lady with the book on the head, and you just not a wiggle, not a wobble. However, the last 15 feet are in shade.
Are in shade.
Are in shade. So the moment that you start to touch that shade, there will be no shadow to fall upon that line.
Right. I do a quick roll and just dive in there like a rogue in my
All
rogue-like
right.
abilities.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Make an acrobatics check, or athletics, whichever you prefer.
I would prefer acrobatics.
All right.
12 plus 6.
So 18.
Woo!
So soon as the shade hits, starts coming down, and you start running, and you notice, like out of the corner of your eye, that is coming down a little faster than I anticipated coming. And you just slip in. You actually did a very good roll, so you slip in with more than a couple seconds to last, but not by much.
You reach back and grab your hat just in time.
Exactly. And it closes. You look back and you see that passage does not look like there is any entrance there whatsoever. The stone is so perfectly aligned with the sides that it almost looks like a natural cave stone.
Is there any natural light in here?
Well, when you guys go in, there is not. When the holder of the compass comes in, a series of torches pop into existence.
Well, that's convenient.
And do light up the passage.
You're welcome.
I was going to say thank you. Glad you're in the party.
And what do we see? Is it just a hallway?
At first, it looks more like a natural cave. And you make your way about 60 or 70 feet through a natural cave passage. And the only thing that would really indicate that this wasn't a natural cave is that the floor is fairly finished. And you can even see, if you brush the dust, which is not insignificant, away, that you can even see tracks as if wagons and heavy vehicles had moved through this area. But then as you get past that, the cavern opens up and there is a massive bridge in front of you. And this bridge leads to an archway. And then you can see up above a landing and another archway and another archway. And you probably count 16 or so archways within a labyrinthian system of what looks to be halls and passages in front of you. The cavern is massive, and every 30 or 40 feet or so is a figure that seems to be embedded in the wall. At some point, these figures probably were smooth. They look like they're made of some kind of marble. But now it's like a porcelain doll's face that has been broken and in disrepair over time. So there are cracks, but it almost looks like the faces of children. And they are scattered throughout the architecture as if they had been literally embedded within the walls.
Does anybody else feel creepy right now?
I checked for traps.
Okay, so where?
No.
Because it's a very, very massive area.
Right.
And could I do a history check on those figures just to see if I can remind me of anything? 16. So there was a god who was called the Glow Child.
You said glow?
Called the Glow Child.
The Glow Child.
That wasn't the god's name. I'm trying to remember the god's name. Rye. It was R-Y-E. Rye, the Glow Child. And I believe it was the god of, I want to say either generosity, which was associated with Babbage.
Goddess of generosity, you say? That maybe we should give her something. Maybe she'll be impressed. Does anybody have any money they want to give?
Or maybe she should give us something.
Or maybe she's dead.
I like that idea. I like the idea of giving her something, maybe a coin, just one coin. I'll give a coin if none of you want to give a coin.
That's right, your coins. Makes sense. Because you're blessed
No
by...
secrets, no coins here. Give them one.
There are tons of these.
Right.
We'll call them statues for lack of a better word. They're not truly statues. They're just a face within the wall. There's not a noticeable coin slot. The face, the mouths are not open. It doesn't look like there's a purposeful place to put a coin. You could certainly try.
Couple
don't
of
wanna
eyes
be-
never hurt.
I don't want to be obvious, but didn't the compass say we were supposed to do something once we were inside the hall?
Yes, that was going to be my next thing, is I was going to observe the compass again, see if it was going to, if it give any sort of hint.
So yes, so the compass is supposed to be able to give you the safest route.
Now, you said 16 archways and a big bridge. Do we need to cross the bridge
Yes,
before
so
we get to
you
the
cross
archways?
the bridge and then you will come to a series of paths, some which lead to stairwells, which move up.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, there's only one bridge, though, right? There's one bridge, and then the rest are just like...
In fact, why don't we show you what it looks like? Okay, so you get a little bit better idea of the environment you're in. Yes, the bridge, for example, that you see behind me is massive in size. These are large stone structures. Again, looks like heavy laden vehicles, probably with animals of burden, have gone through this passageway numerous times.
No offense meant, Declyn.
In fact, are you still in wolf form?
I am in wolf form.
Even after centuries, you can smell the desiccated hint of animal leavings to this day.
So I checked the compass for the safest route.
So I think I'm going to roll your rolls for you here because I don't want you to know whether the roll was successful or not.
Can I just ask also, so what you're suggesting is if it's a bad roll, we could end up going the wrong direction, right?
That is correct.
We could end up going in unsafe directions.
Yes.
Might still get us where we're going.
And you are
Apparently,
rolling-
no matter what, it will.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We're fine. We'll be fine.
Mine might be a stretch.
I love your optimism.
Are we allowed to assist her, or because it's...
Actually, I'm
Can
going to
you
roll
guys
with a
all
smaller
help?
die too, so that you guys can't see over there.
Now, technically, the 6 of you must survive, but the 2 of us are expendable, I suppose?
Not at all.
Expendable sounds awful. I wouldn't use that personally.
And personally, no human being is expendable.
And honestly, it's just you that they saw in the place at the time.
So,
Guys, I'm going to get there.
so you make your way across the bridge, and you are fiddling with the compass. And you also notice that if you close the compass, you can still see the compass beneath it,
Yes.
but now that you're in the hall, the sundial portion doesn't seem to be reacting to the light around you, but seems to be indicating height, whether something is high or low. So, according to your compass, if you're using it correctly, curving around to the left, climbing the stairs, and going to the far tunnel to the left is the safest route.
I love that little smile you have there.
But logically, just the saying, is going upstairs a great idea for carts filled with animals and things? Just throwing it out. If this was
really good point.
if this was a route that they took,
But would you know that it was not potentially not the route?
But illogically, it's also the least likely to pick if you don't know the route.
all right.
And maybe it was the right route during the war, but maybe no longer.
There's
Can I roll
that.
perception to see if it's lying to me?
Can I roll?
That's not the way that works.
Can I roll perception to look in the wider archways and see if I see wagon ruts?
Sure.
15.
First of all, there is a pretty severe amount of dust here. This is an area that has obviously not been used for probably decades, if not hundreds of years.
Prestidigitation.
Now, do you want to do that?
Gently.
Okay. So you prestidigitate the dust off of a few select areas. You do not see any wagon tracks in the areas that you have selected. Now, I will say, because you're a fairly intelligent person, there is at least one area in which you do notice with that perception check some footprints that are just barely visible from where the dust has got a slightly different level of dust, so that someone on foot definitely went through the third entrance on the right.
Not the one that it's
Not the
telling
one
us
that
to go
she's
through.
telling.
Was this recent, looks like?
No, it's not recent, but it's visible to her, and it's not been disturbed since.
A single
Your
set
compass
of
is
prints?
stupid.
What makes you say that?
It's that up the stairs. The rat man knows. Up the stairs doesn't make any sense for getting things in and out of a city. What about this one? See, look very close down here. Footprint. Is it a big footprint? Is it just one person?
I mean, it's the footprint of a normal person. It's not.
A normal person walked here.
Well, hold on. The one thing we know about this place is that the people who have gone here have not come back.
Which is why I was about to ask if the footprint is coming out or going in. Because if it's coming out, it's a pretty good indication.
Going in.
Less good of an indication.
I mean, the compass is the only thing we have to go on right now.
Sure, absolutely.
Right, but Babbage likes to play games sometimes.
So you're saying it's either the best or the worst option, is what it sounds like.
Yes,
Now,
that's what I'm
Nix,
saying.
when we think back to what you were trying to do with those sticks in that water, I don't know if we can trust your intuition all the time.
Oh my goodness.
Says the woman who froze
Yes, who
it.
froze it and firebolted it.
For beverages later, obviously.
Well, are there any paths that have footprints coming out of it then?
Do you want to search the entire area?
Yes.
All right. I will allow, when we do these group checks, rather than having everybody roll, because the odds are someone's going to be successful. You may choose one person with a perception, and you may choose to give that person enough help that they have advantage on that roll.
I'm pretty... Well, go ahead.
I would say, could we call this investigation since we're looking for something
Yep,
specific?
you may call it investigation.
Or perception.
I have a very high perception.
What?
I have very high.
I got 4.
I have the highest investigation, higher than any of y'all's perception.
All right.
I'm guessing.
What is
I have
it?
+8.
Okay, yes.
All right. So
Let's make it
I
an
know you don't like the
use-
numbers.
Let's make it an
You
investigation.
may use his investigative skills at +8, and collectively can give him advantage on that roll, and then we will see what you come up
All
with.
right. Oh no!
It's not a crit failure on both of them. I have a total of 10.
He searches the entire area, and it takes a while. So you guys are probably here for 2 hours or so. Might want to grab some lunch.
I'll take a good berry, thank you.
We get to know each other a little bit.
Searches the entire area and discovers that there are 3 passageways that have footprints within the last probably 50 years that have got people going in. There is no footprints that he has found with people coming out. 2 are on the upper floor. 1 is the one that you discovered on the bottom, 3rd from the right on the bottom.
So we have a few different options for where people have gone in, nothing's coming out, and
Which is a bad sign, but
And there are no footprints, by the way, going into the tunnel in which she has indicated is the correct tunnel according to her use of Babbage's compass.
Maybe it's tired from all that waterfall stuff.
well, maybe no one has ever guessed it.
The argument could
yeah,
be
I
that
say-
3 paths have been chosen all wrong.
yeah.
No one has ever come back, and the compass has not showed us the wrong way as of yet.
However, we did find this compass, or Timmy found this compass on a dead man, so do with that what you will.
No.
He did make it out, I suppose.
Promise this, I'm picking one of these paths and I'm going.
Which one?
The second from the left.
Wait, not the one that...
Hey, Testy!
Not that one. Here we
This
go.
is not the time.
I'm going.
All right, so the second from the left, is that one of the ones that had the footprints going in?
Well, mine was the third from the right.
So that's what I'm asking Leif. Is it one of the ones, are you picking one of the ones that have footprints going in? Or one that has no footprints?
No footprints.
All right.
Zin goes, he's a liability, he is.
Worst choice.
So,
well, we don't have to all go the same way.
do you just start marching down the tunnel?
I do.
Gets real dark real quick.
I have a torch.
All right, do you get out a torch?
Yes.
All right. He's up there, you hear as he's lighting a torch. And the whole time he's grumbling to himself.
Hope no one poured grease in there.
All right.
Are you guys not coming?
What's the mouse's name?
Chance.
Chance! Don't go up. Oh, look, Chance is running up into that tunnel that the compass was pointing us to.
Chancey, come back.
Chance!
What did
Oh
you-
no, he's all alone.
What?
Oh no!
Inspiration for that.
Do you like mice?
you.
Is that what it is? Do you like mice?
Why did you let Chance go?
Oh, we better go help him.
Where is Chance?
And Chance is like, so Chance is like running down the tunnel.
Oh, that's not fair.
The second from the left.
And I can.
So that's the tunnel. You sent Chance down the tunnel that is the one that she's indicated?
He said it, and I
just
said
said it.
to live up to it.
Well,
I said,
before we
okay,
send
Chance, go down the.
anyone in, I'd like to send...
Wait, Chance is gone.
Okay,
I have
Chance.
to go get Chance.
But I can remotely perceive and see what Chance
Great.
can see. So I'm getting a view down this hallway. That he-
Very, very dark.
It's
But he's
dark.
got,
send
but he
Zin
has
in.
dark vision.
I'd like to
Does
send...
Chance have dark
Chance
vision?
has dark vision.
Does
Is
he?
it possible?
He does.
Is it possible that I can see what Chance has seen at this
Yeah,
point?
I mean, he's seeing a tunnel.
And it's just dark. More
I'm
darkness.
gonna follow along with Chance.
All right.
And me.
And I'll follow with...
Yes,
I'll follow
he's
with
going down
Zin.
the route that the compass picked.
All right, so
He's
you
30
guys-
feet ahead of us.
You guys go.
And we're following
Seems like,
Chance.
is anybody not going down the tunnel in which she has said that's the correct
It was
tunnel?
a staircase, right?
You went up the staircase and it's, yeah.
Which,
We
which
are,
number?
in fact,
It's the
following footprints
farthest-
now.
it's the
They're
farthest
tiny, tiny
left.
little footprints that go this way.
Okay, I'll go.
So if we have 8 tunnels on the top and 8 tunnels on the bottom, we'll call that tunnel 1 on the top.
Ooh,
Whereas the tunnel that you found the original footprints was tunnel 7 on the bottom, and the 2 others up top that had footprints were 4 and 6.
Look, it should be easy to turn around and try another if this doesn't work. And among us, I think I trust Chance more than most. And Eelynn, of course.
Yeah.
Zin goes, hello!
As Chance answers you.
So, can I ask, are there lights going on as she's...
When she starts to go
Right.
into the tunnel, the lights, just like you see, the lights, or sometimes if it's a much larger area, braziers, start to.
I would like to stay ahead of those lights with Chance, if possible.
All right.
And I am following with my familiar as well. so
Zin is
I'm
up
not gonna
there
let
with
him get away.
Laric and Chance. Nyx is probably the furthest back, I'd say.
Well,
Well,
things light ahead of you and behind you about 40 feet. So as long as you're within
Yes.
40 feet,
I'm
either in
keeping
front
up.
or behind of Nyx, you have fairly decent illumination.
Is Laric trying to stay out of the light?
I see quite well in the dark.
You just don't, you like to do, you looking for more rats?
Sure. I mean, if we're hungry.
Kind of your thing, right?
We're hungry.
Honestly, compared to more good berries, I'm not opposed.
It's quite nice with a bit of salt and pepper. Unfortunately, my salt and pepper all got wet.
You should have enchanted the ice to keep it cold. The beverages.
As they're having this conversation, you continue down the tunnel for, I would say, 30 minutes. It's a very, very long tunnel. By the way, before you even get there, doing the math, which you have done with a map on your way here, You're probably looking at about 20 miles of tunnels if Babbage's Hall truly goes where Babbage's Hall says it does. So it's a pretty massive complex.
Question.
Yes.
Can I sense whether it's going roughly east? Aren't we headed generally southeast?
Yes.
Or south,
Go
pretty much.
ahead and roll survival to see if you can determine that.
Okay, I got a 0 bonus, but that's 15.
Yeah, I would say generally, as far as you can tell, with, trying to orient your, because the compass is useless at this point because the compass doesn't actually point to north at all. But yeah, you think so, if you were oriented the way you think you were when you entered into the hall. It's hard to tell when you get into a tunnel and go for a long period of time. The tunnel seems to be going fairly straight though, but if it's going at a very subtle curve, maybe not. At the end of 30 minutes, you come to another crossroads. There are 4 different areas you could go, 2 which go down ramps, 2 passages, and 1 that goes forward, and another that goes off to the left.
Chance, where are you going?
He's with me. He's come
What
back.
does the compass say?
What does the compass say?
Oh gosh, we can trust nothing.
We haven't died yet.
All right, the compass seems to think that you go down the ramp to your right.
Says down the ramp to the right.
It's vaguely southeast, which is where we're headed.
All right,
Gone this far.
let's keep going then.
You go down the ramp to the southeast.
Look, Chance went that way.
Go down the ramp to your right.
Before we go in, I'd like to at least check the doorway for traps. I'm
There's
cautious.
no doorway. There are archways, but you
Yes.
haven't found a single door yet.
Okay, archway, traps. I'm cautious.
Sure. Before you enter into the area, go ahead and roll perception for traps.
And as we go forward, I'm sort of being very cognizant of where I'm stepping and things like that.
You will move much slower if you are moving with caution. So if you want
what
to
about
move,
with cautious optimism?
you can move with caution, but you will move at a much slower pace.
15.
You do not see any obvious traps.
No traps.
Hey, what do you all think the goddess Rye was about? All those statues in the wall.
Well, I was associated with Babbage, so there's a connection. The god of
Generosity.
I want to say generosity, but I'm going to find out later I'm wrong.
It makes
Well,
sense.
here's the thing: you've invented this world,
I know.
so
It is
Now, the
now.
goddess of generosity.
But it makes sense if this was the goddess of generosity, because to help the people of a besieged city, so what is more generous than that?
Right. Just wondering if there's any significance that would help lead us down the right path with all these choices.
do we see
I'm
anything
going to
else?
blame that if it's not the god of generosity on his roll. I'll say, well, it's such an obscure god that he got it wrong later. So I'm this close to calling my wife at home and going, on my desk, there is a piece of paper that has got the dead gods on it. It's literally right there.
Travis, is there anything else in these hallways that we're seeing, or is it just a stone tube that we're walking through?
Basically a stone tube. So it feels like the parts of the hall so far that you have seen that have any kind of architectural flair to them are the places where things branch off. That the hallways themselves are basically the fastest tunnel you could possibly make, considering that they were trying to do this with the greatest haste. And even with magic, trying to carve through this much rock was probably a Herculean task. But the stairwells and the archways and stuff do have a artistic architectural flair to them, similar to things that you've seen from Babbage's temples and the like.
Now, these archways, do they have, small child faces on them at all, or are they?
Not these particular ones.
Okay,
no.
all right.
You haven't seen that since you left the original hall.
All right.
And are there any indications or signs on any of the archways that would distinguish one from another?
No, nothing.
Now, that gives me an idea. If we need to come back, we should probably mark them.
It's a little late to come up with that now.
Well,
you've
not
only got 3
necessarily.
Yeah, it's not
From
bad.
here on out, you can absolutely do so.
All right. So,
I've got a quill and ink, and I can scrawl a little bit on the sides.
I think somebody has chalk too. I think
Oh, if someone has chalk, that would
few
probably be better.
different
Yeah.
kits that have chalk.
Somebody has a paint kit with them.
Yeah, somebody has an entire
Or
paint.
we could just mark it in the
Eelynn, that's beautiful.
arrows in the dust.
Roses on each doorway, archway.
Yeah, if there's 50 years of dust, that would also be a fairly good
we
indicator.
can determine that Eelynn has got her painting kit out and is and just as you go
beautiful,
along, is,
beautiful. So
making beautiful curiforms and stuff on the doors.
Hangman.
I like that
almost.
swirly swirl.
Yeah. All right. So are you moving cautiously or not cautiously?
Ow.
All right. So not cautiously.
But I would like to
optimistic.
cast Mage Hand and see if just have it go the maximum amount of feet ahead and just sliding against the wall 30 feet ahead.
Sure.
I guess the light, her light reaches 40 feet, but instead I cast Prestidigitation, so I'm just knocking dust off.
Sure, you're cleaning the way. You know. Anybody here have allergies? Because she's knocking up a lot of dust. Would you
the
like
dire
to try?
wolf starts.
Let's say eventually you do cast Mage Hand because you have all the time in the world. So eventually you cast Mage Hand and you do so. After about an hour down this passageway, you come to a very large passageway. In fact, this passageway has got a river that flows through it, 2 bridges, and a total of 8 archways.
All right. What's the compass say?
Here we go
Pick
again.
that one.
How about we wait for the compass?
All right.
Have you worked with small children before?
The compass indicates that you are to go over the bridge and take the 3rd archway on the right.
I would like to take a look at the bridge.
I would be-
close look at it.
I'd be happy to send Chance across and take a look at it as well.
Chance is a fair bit lighter than the rest of us.
Well, to see if there's anything.
Yeah, what is
obvious.
this bridge? Is it a rickety bridge? Is it kind of like the one that we
Nope,
saw?
it's a stone bridge again.
Stone bridge. All right.
I guess I
How
want to look
high
for.
is the bridge from the river?
About 60 feet. Yeah, the river is far down.
Okay. I want to look specifically for cracks or anything that might be triggered to release the bridge.
All right. Do we want to do another of your investigations?
Would love to. It went so well the last time. Can anyone help?
Yeah.
But yes, again, we'll
Okay, we all
assume that,
collectively help.
that you are being assisted, so you will have advantage.
Better this time. That's an 18.
Yes, so other than the wear and tear that a bridge would actually go through over time, it seems fine.
Is that the left or the right?
This would be the right bridge.
Now, if this is a river,
Good question.
Is there? Are we still in a cave? You know what I'm saying?
Basically, what it seems like they have done is they have built these tunnels and have attached them to natural cave systems. So the very large cave system areas where they are branching off into different areas, those seem to be natural caves.
They are gods, after all. They could find a cave.
Well, Babbage didn't build this. Babardarius, who was head of the Thieves Guild under Babbage, made this.
And married a goddess, right?
He didn't
So,
know it
like-
at the time, but yes, he was married to Ceresia, which again, and Ticket was in her womb at the time, so he didn't know why everything was going so perfectly at the time, and yes, this probably never could have happened without 2 goddesses assisting him without him knowing.
Typical man.
I was going to say, very, very typical. That often happened. The man thinks, oh my God, I'm just amazing. And there are 2 women behind
all
him
the credit.
doing all the work.
Yeah. Behind every great man is a magical deity of luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Amen. And I high five every
and
woman in this cavern.
Do we feel that we should cross the bridge then?
Does anyone have rope?
I do. I have
I
rope.
do.
How about one person goes at a time, with rope tied around them, and someone, the strongest of us, holding onto the rope, so that if they, if it does collapse and they won't die. Thoughts?
Fine, I'll be happy to go.
I'm glad we're all traveling
Sure.
together.
All right.
I would have
Why
gone
don't
across.
I have rope. You can tie my rope around me. I'll be happy
How about
to
if
go
I just
first.
hang on to the rope and I'll just hold on to it, sort of tie it, wrap it around myself, and then walk along.
I'm pretty strong.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hold on to the other end.
So you tie a rope.
Yeah, and I'm
to-
looking. Sure.
So you tie a rope. What is the rope attached to?
Him.
All right. So
What is this?
Fellig has one side of the rope. You're attached on the other side of the rope, and you walk across the bridge. The bridge is approximately 30 feet.
Yep.
So you walk across the bridge. Do you stomp across the bridge? Do you
No, I'm
really test
carefully
it? Or
walking and
you're
looking.
carefully
Yeah,
walking?
yeah.
All right.
For a bridge.
Carefully walk across the bridge.
Looking for
When
things.
you get about
Yeah.
3/4 of the way across
Yes.
the bridge, you continue going the other. And you get to the other side, and you're like, no problem.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work.
Is it all right?
No, it's not. Yes, it's good. It's fine. Come on.
Okay, I'm just gonna walk across with no help.
Same.
All right. Yep.
Walk across.
And I will jump.
Of course, the moment that the mouse steps on the bridge.
That was the straw.
Chance, no.
And then I go down too.
Yeah, and then you dive after the mouse. It's going to happen one of these days. So, do you keep the rope around you, or do you keep yourself attached?
I don't know. No,
You
because
should
I'm.
keep pulling him so he can't take another
Yeah, we tie the
direction.
rope around him, and then it goes so he doesn't run off in
All right,
the.
so you remove the rope from
Yeah,
yourself?
sure.
Are you still in the front?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you go down to the passage that the compass has suggested. The passage winds downward a bit, like a corkscrew, and comes out to a straightaway. And you go about 50 feet down into that straightaway. Now, I want to know exactly what order you all are in.
Oh, why?
Just curious.
Just curious.
I think I ran after Laric's.
So Laric is in front
Yeah.
with Mouse.
No, Mouse was with me.
Okay, so the mouse is with you. So Laric is in front. Who's behind Laric?
I am. Oh, okay, I'll be after Fellig.
Probably Zin is up there.
I'll be the middlest you can possibly be.
Got
in this
it.
order.
Who's next to you is
Got it.
even more important to me.
Well, depending on how wide the hallway would be.
So the
I
hall,
would-
the hall is about 15 feet wide. It's
yeah, I
not a
would
small
think
one.
that in my direwolf form, I would be towards the front, sniffing, and just.
All right. So do you want to be
I'd like to be towards the front,
behind or in front of Fellig?
maybe to the side.
All right.
I guess that would put me towards the rear of the pack if he's
Is
in
it
the middle
okay
and
if
they're
I
up
just scratch your ear a little bit?
Sure.
Rear's good for a cleric.
The healer
so
being
Declyn.
next to the one we're trying to protect is not a
I'm
bad
going to
idea.
assume, Diony, that
He can.
your sister is always beside you.
Perfect.
And so Teal, that doesn't put you in the middle at all anymore.
Because he's toward the back with me.
I would be in the back as well.
Right. Teal, if you want to be in the middle, you're going to be in front of Diony, I think.
Okay.
So we have Laric in front by himself, Fellig and Declyn, followed by Teal, followed by Diony and Eelynn. What is it with me in that name? And Zen, and then Tobiath and Nix. Laric, Fellig, and Declyn. Roll, I guess perception.
16.
22.
Now, question. Because my human form perception is better than wolf form, but what am I detecting? Do you know what I mean? Like, should I add
Right.
my human bonuses?
We're going to say that you can use your own perception if it is higher.
Then I got a 14.
You got a 14.
How good is your human perception
So-
that it's better than a wolf?
Right?
He's a druid.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's a
wild
wolf.
with nature.
So, the two of you get the unmistakable feeling that you're slightly off balance. There's a pull, like, oh, I'm having to adjust my balance because I'm being pulled forward just slightly. You do not get that feeling. I need to know immediately what you're going to do.
I stop and I.
So you stop.
Yep. And
How about you, Fellig?
I am familiar with this situation. I grew up on ships.
Sure.
I know how to counter my weight.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I counter my
Do you
weight.
continue moving?
I do.
All right. And you continue moving forward because you have no idea what's going on. And the rest of you continue moving forward.
Can I say,
Yes.
hold on?
All right. Does everybody stop?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I would stop.
He was right about that water thing. I feel bad.
Now you start to feel a little bit more. Just starts. And now you're really feeling it. As if the room is just ever so slightly starting to tip forward.
Tip forward.
Just ever so slightly.
This reminds me of a carnival.
Back up! Back up!
Also, the three of you who are in the front, roll a perception check.
13.
23.
Crit.
Crit 20?
Crit fail.
Oh, crit fail. So you don't see this. It's not a big deal. As the room started to tip, you notice that you think you might see a skeleton or something in the wall. But then as he says back up, and as you guys, I'm assuming, back up, and it starts to right itself, you don't see that skeleton. The skeleton gets covered back up. As soon as you begin to back up, the room rights itself again.
Are we all in the room or just them?
Well, in the hall.
In the hall.
In the hall.
This place may be our doom. I saw the remains of a human on the side of the wall. But once the room righted itself.
And I would say since you rolled a 23, which is really, really high, he had stuff on him.
What kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I saw some good stuff.
You mean like
All right.
I grabbed Declyn by the shoulders. You mean riches?
I believe so, yes.
You mean things that I could sell in order to perhaps...
Get more gold pieces and spells.
A new spell? Where?
Right over there in the side of the wall. But now that we've backed up, the floor has righted itself. But I could turn into a squirrel and see if I could go over there and what was in there.
I think we're too heavy as a team. Maybe we should lighten the load, as they say, and...
We could do the rope thing again.
Can I get clarification on something? So once we back up, the floor rights itself and it feels sturdy again, or does it start to tip the other way?
That's correct. So, in other words, it feels like you walked past the fulcrum. It started to tip, and as you guys went back, and when it tipped forward, he saw some kind of a space there. And then when you backed up and the fulcrum started to go back, and it seems like there's something on this side, so the fulcrum stops there. The idea is if you're not paying attention and you go past the fulcrum too far,
and fall to your doom.
I would like
So,
to find
can
where
we do an
that
experiment?
break is. Yeah, so
Yes.
if we go back and then find
All right.
yeah.
So let's, again, because
Tie a
probably
rope.
the person here who understands those kind of physics the best. So shall we do another investigation check with help?
Yep.
I
Using better
need
dice this
those
time.
trinkets, too.
How does a 17 treat you?
17 is enough to generally figure out where that fulcrum point is. Because it's actually much more complicated than you think, because you gotta okay, so how many people do we have in the hall? When did this actually start? Where's the fulcrum point? To try and figure out, and you do, if you get a couple people as observers far enough back, you do see the point where the floor starts to come up.
lift, right.
And once you discover where the floor starts to come up, it's pretty easy to start to feel out that fulcrum. As long as of course, you have to balance it out, because you got to have so much weight here and so much weight there.
So 2 hours later.
Can we balance
Exactly.
it so
Literally, probably 2 hours later. You
Can we
figure
get
this
it
out.
2 hours later perfectly balanced so that I want to be on the low end and encouraging Declyn to turn into a squirrel and have everybody pause as soon as we can see the cubby with the skeleton?
Well, we can certainly try. So the way that we're going to do this is collectively, as a group, we're going to have to make a dexterity check. Because this is going to involve not just one of you, but most of you to try and make this happen properly. Collective dexterity of the group, I'm going to say, averages out to about 13. We're going to make a dexterity check with +1.
I gotcha.
But we are going to say that it is at advantage because you're all trying to work together. And who would like to make that roll?
The
I
lucky
think
one.
The dice
No, I think
yeah,
the lucky
sure.
one for
All right,
sure.
I'll cast Fumble Proof on myself. This is a fortune spell I can cast once per day.
Oh, this is cheaty.
Only if it's a crit
Yes,
one.
that is fine. I do
get a reroll.
I know. So again, read out what Fumble Proof does because it's
I would
a
love
spell
to.
that most people wouldn't know out there. It's a fortune spell.
Some brilliant person created it. All right. This is my Luck Master First Circle spell. Of my fortune spells, I can cast one per circle per day, and I'm only first circle right now.
Sure.
So this is my only casting of one of these this day. I touch a single individual, myself, imbuing them. This spell has no effect unless the target rolls a natural 1 on a skill check, attack roll, or saving throw. After that point, Fumble Proof steps in and changes that 1 to a 20. A target can only have one Fumble Proof cast on them at a time.
Okay.
So if I
So it
do
works
roll
for
a crit
one, basically,
and turns it to a 20.
and turns it into a 20. That's
and I'm
correct.
rolling with advantage because of help.
That is correct.
And we'll put a +1 on it.
Now, the only thing I will say that if you roll with that advantage and one of those is a 1, the Fumble Proof will
Tip it to a 20.
tip it into
Yeah.
a 20.
Okay, so let's roll a 1.
All right, so let me be very clear what you guys are trying to do. You're trying to get it to balance at such a point that the skeleton is visible, and you're trying to get it to balance at just the right point on the seesaw, basically, where you can get to that cubby, but it doesn't tip. That's what
That's
we're
right.
trying to do, correct?
Yeah.
So we are tipping it up.
And
Have you already turned into a squirrel?
Chance the mouse
In a moment.
will wait on the side.
Okay.
So he's not in
question
danger.
is-
Before we do it,
Yes.
if you want me to be a squirrel, let me be.
I do.
But do we?
over
Because
to the
is a
side,
squirrel going to be
protect
able to
yourself.
drag the body out?
No.
And so
No.
maybe, again,
Mage hands could. 10 pounds each.
Sure.
I got
in
one
tandem,
too.
if it's
Well,
a 20-pound
I mean-
skeleton.
Hold on. If we get the balance right,
Yeah,
anyone.
if you get the balance right,
Right.
he's correct. Yeah, if you get the balance right, you should be able to
if we get the
take your
balance
time.
wrong, then maybe
If you
someone
get your
with,
balance wrong, you're going to have a completely different problem.
with good acrobatics
Yeah.
would be useful.
So-
Do you want to do that
Here's
belt
the other
thing
thing I
again
wanna
with the
know.
rope?
Yes.
It will take 2 of you to be on the dangerous side of the fulcrum. Well, I should say everybody's really on the dangerous side of the fulcrum if it starts to tip too far. But I will say that you have to be the farthest along, the most dangerous part. So one of those is going to be
I'll take the
Diony.
risk. Yeah, I want that goal.
And who
I'll
will
take
be
the
the
risk
other?
too, because I'm good at acrobatics and.
So the 2 tiniest girls are going to be the ones who are.
But then does that also mean one of them is going to be grabbing the skeleton?
Yes. So I
conceptually?
will. I think the physics of this probably doesn't. I'm going to have physics people. None of what you just said.
No, it's good that we've let the 2 thiefiest among us.
Yes,
that
no,
we can
sure.
also
So
do
you do have
this.
the 2 thiefiest among you.
Once they
Scientifically,
grab
we'd
the
want,
skeleton, the
I love
balance
how everybody
changes.
thinks you're a thief.
I'm just interested in gold.
Exactly.
Not
All right.
technically a thief.
I'm going to say the 2 of you are the farthest forward, and it would be in the most danger if this was to go horribly wrong.
Fair.
And we've at least tied ropes to them. I hope.
Oh, yeah.
No, let's tie
I
ropes
would
to
like
us.
to. I would
Let's
like
tie
to.
ropes.
I
A
have
rope,
and a-
like one person on
Yes,
either
on
side
each
of
side.
each fulcrum
I would
is
recommend
roped
that.
to someone on the other side.
So who
Yes.
do I tie myself to?
I'll do Eelynn.
The strongest
Any
would be.
who is the strongest?
Well,
He's a squirrel right now, isn't he?
No, not yet. No, I think the new plan would be if I'm going to be one of the weights, why don't I turn into a bear?
Yes.
There is that.
Then I'm the strongest weight on the
Yes.
fulcrum side.
Yes.
Then you're the other strong.
Make a wisdom check.
A weight check.
I feel like you'd want to stand closest to the fulcrum, and then you just have to take like one
Yeah,
step
so you
in
can
either
lean
direction.
left and right.
Or be a
23.
squirrel on the far end of a
Way back at the
fulcrum
end.
and turn
You
into a
could
bear if you need
actually-
to.
Yeah.
Changing animals.
So, So through that wisdom check, you could actually be the safety because if you are Declyn at the very edge, and then go from Declyn to bear, that should like slam the area down rather than trying to balance the bear somewhere in the middle.
So I'll
I'd
be
still-
human Declyn, and then if things go awry, I will immediately turn into a bear.
Still
Yeah.
like to tie myself to someone.
Because you'll go from what, like 180 to something like
1,000 pounds or
yeah,
something.
at least.
So
Well, should we just
So can we tie ourselves? So I will tie myself to Fellig if you.
Fellig and Eelynn are by far the two strongest people here.
So you tie yourself to Eelynn. I tie myself to Fellig.
I will tie you to me.
Okay.
You will not tie me to
Fair.
Inspiration. Pass that down to him.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, are we ready for this roll?
Will not submit at all. All right, so you are tied to Eelynn. You are tied to Fellig. Now let's see what we roll. We have a bear for safety.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Didn't even need that fumble proof.
So the fumble proof is still for
In
what, like
effect.
8 hours?
24.
24 hours. Wow, that's a great spell.
Yeah.
You are able to get it to this perfect place. With a nat 20, it's like, I mean, it's perfect.
I saw the potential
You're doing
for...
some medieval Cirque du Soleil stuff here.
Oh, yes.
And you find he's got a backpack and a belt pouch. You can pull the whole skeleton out if you like, or you got all the time in the world because you are perfectly balanced. So you may either take the stuff off of him or you can...
We should give them a proper burial. I'll pull out the whole skeleton.
Pull out the whole skeleton. All right.
I would agree with that.
I'm also watching her closely to see if she's taking anything.
Yeah,
for
I'm
herself.
taking everything. My pockets are being filled.
You are able to get the entire skeleton out. It's not very heavy. The backpack has mostly held together, but a lot of it has disintegrated. I'm going to assume that there is a dagger actually in his or her, we don't really actually know, rib cage. Maybe they took that way out. There is a device attached to its wrist.
Does it look valuable?
It looks almost exactly like this. So it all depends on whether you think this looks valuable or not.
I toss it.
I'll catch it. Yeah, I'll catch it.
There is a simple looking ring on its skeletal finger, and in its belt pouch it has some money.
Hello, I'll just hold this for the group.
I don't know if I trust that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's a 5 piece.
Oh,
Well, I mean, you're the one getting it out, so here's what's in the belt pouch.
wow.
You can do with that what you will.
Okay. It was only 3. Weird.
Yeah, you didn't have much money on him.
Can we examine the contents?
570.
I definitely want to look at the wrist contraption.
Okay.
I'd like to observe the dagger.
So pass those down.
The red dagger as well.
Yeah.
Now, is it supposed to look all futuristic-y like this?
It is.
Okay. It's a new word I
is
made up, by the
actually.
way,
There are
futuristic-y.
tears
a
of
ring.
joy.
You got a
and-
ring here as well.
Ah.
Hey,
Here, you can toss it.
while we're, can we
I take
do
a look at the
another
ring?
detect magic?
Yes, that's exactly
Yeah.
why I was asking. Could I?
Well, you got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Should we get out of this
I mean-
room first?
Well, I'm assuming we're not on the thing that
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
wiki
Yeah.
wiki, right?
Not
Back
anymore.
up a bit.
Can
Back up.
Another technical question. Can we see beyond the tipping point that the tunnel does continue?
It's not lit up.
Making noise.
It does look like the tunnel continues.
We also could go
You-
back and
you-
try.
It is pretty safe, though, to say that if this was the safest route, that
It would not have.
that's a pretty dangerous,
Right.
safe route.
Yes.
So it may be that
We've made a commitment, though.
yeah.
Yes.
Now you.
But that is
search-
information I would not figure out. So
makes noise.
I'm ready to continue
Sure.
to try to jump the gap.
You determine that it's not a jumpable gap. Like as you find that fulcrum point, you would have to jump like 50, 60 feet. Yeah, and that
But if I toss the little one,
Oh, straight up from the...
now you could potentially put enough weight, maybe with the bear, put enough weight on it that you could go all the way. One person could go all the way across the space and see what's at the other end. If you would like to do so, I would probably suggest it either be someone who the lights turn on for her. If you
And
lose
with
her,
acrobatics.
yeah, good luck getting through the rest of this place. Or somebody who could see in the dark.
I could have Chance go take a look, as long as he's not more than 30 feet away. How big is the room?
So it's a good solid, so you're looking at about 100-foot section that tips.
I mean, we could all stand on one end and let the squirrel go across.
That's what I'm thinking.
So okay, so you can discuss this. I will say after 10 minutes, all of the objects that I have given you are magical.
Are magical?
Yes. The dagger is magic comes from the god Tyll. The thing that was around his or her wrist was from the god Tygyr, who is no longer with us. That is a dead god. And the ring is magical, and the magic is from Lemurner.
Do we know what these are the gods of?
Make a history check.
Actually, okay at that.
We'll make a collective history check. You roll for a lot of things, so
Sure,
who has a decent history and one who wants to make a collective history check?
Would that be Tobiath?
Not me.
+2. Oh, I'm sorry, not supposed to say that.
I will tell you who has the highest history check.
It's me.
Yeah, it's Tyll. It's Tyll again.
Yeah.
Diony was second.
If you want to make.
All right.
Damn it. Ooh. Yeah, just put that anywhere.
Did you just lose?
Did you just drop something else
He'll say we don't have it
and
anymore.
lose it?
Yeah, I will say.
Of course,
if you
it was
don't have the object. So that's the way it works in my game. So just so everybody knows, every item that I give of significance is a physical object in my games. And if you don't have the object, you don't have the item. So don't lose it.
Yes, I dropped it, but I picked it up.
Tobias does have a habit of losing things.
Yes. All right. So would you like to roll for a change?
Yeah, well, I did get to roll that dex.
Yeah, that is true. So you have advantage.
The dagger was what gone?
21.
Okay, so in the interest of brevity, I'm going to give you all three. So Tyll is the goddess of mercy under Fawn. Tygyr is a deceased god, but was the god of intrigue. And Lemurner is the goddess of rivers.
Also deceased, or?
No. Lemurner and Tyll are both alive.
That ring could be some sort of swimming magic.
Breathe underwater or
Breathing underwater magic, something of that nature.
I'd love to have a look at those also.
Okay.
You could put the ring on. You could put the ring on.
So when he messes around with that,
Calm down.
Exactly that happens. A wire, a thin, that does exactly that. Go ahead. A wire comes out of it and shoots into the wall, bounces off because it has a blunt tip to it, and surprises everybody. Probably has the same reaction that you just had.
Found out what this does. It's a shooty. It shoots a rope.
Does it cause harm? Does it cause harm?
I inspect the wall where it hit. How badly did it?
Doesn't seem to have caused much harm.
So there's nothing at the tip. It looks like this. It's blunt.
Yeah.
Oh, Tobiath.
It does.
You don't mind, Tobiath?
It does look blunt, but it's made completely of metal.
Oh.
The whole device is made of metal.
If I hold a coin up to the tip, does anything happen?
A coin up to the tip?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I don't know.
What denomination?
I reach in my own bag and I find a 5.
The moment you touch it to the tip, you feel silly because nothing happens.
Oh, were you thinking
I
it's
thought
magnetic?
magnetism.
Not all metals are magnetic. Do I have any iron on me?
I don't know, do you?
We are in the Iron Mountains, so...
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'll start holding it against
All right,
like
so
mountains.
he's trying to get it to stick to the wall.
So do we know the gods that these? We all know that these are like specific items with gods, or do we not know this?
So yes, you do know that every magical item is created through the magic of a particular god.
Yes, but
so that is common knowledge.
Does a magic item created by a god with whom one is associated or in the pantheon, like, is there generally a greater affinity with that magic item?
That's an extremely good question. Sometimes it plays to the strengths of that particular god, but it doesn't
always.
Now, sometimes they do, especially if it's a very powerful magical item. Then the answer would probably be yes. And if it's an item created by the god Jaka, who is patron of magic, they feel that every item created by Jaka belongs to the Church of Jaka, and so if you don't belong to the Church of Jaka and you have like a magical item that Jaka created and it's out and about and they see it, they will confiscate it from you and say, nope, you took this, you stole it somehow because nobody outside of the Church of Jaka should be using that.
And with magical items in this world, is it work the same as general, like identify spells or spending time with it, or?
An identify spell will absolutely work. And history, you can take a short rest with it, try and play with it, make a strong history check and maybe get some hints to it. Some magical items are more complex and arcane than others to try and figure out exactly how they work. Some of them reveal their secrets over time.
Maybe I'll do an identify spell on my next spell coin. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, I'm full for this. I start marching back down the tunnel. If we're not going farther this way, I just want to
Don't
find
think we
a
should.
different
This
path.
is clearly a trap or not the path to take. So.
No, he's walking the other way.
Then maybe we've been through the hard part. Why don't you turn into a bear at one end, and then we'll all go, and then turn into a squirrel and run and leap before it has a chance to equalize.
The path is clearly the path that all the, wagons went through. So.
We haven't seen wagon trails in
I know, but Babbage wouldn't make it incredibly difficult if it wasn't, if it's the path to go, he wouldn't make it incredibly difficult.
Next time on Dungeon Call. You then come to a room which is in severe disrepair.
So if we were going to rest, this would not be a terrible place because one side we know is safe.
She starts to first observe these crevices here and looks down and says, "Is something down there?"
In that case, maybe let's not be yelling.
What?
Cerise! Cerise!
Oh.
See, I told
How
you
are the languages?
something's down there.
Roll initiative.